Hi everybody, it's Jenn from McCreath. Today is Saturday, October 15, 2022. It's the midpoint of the NCAA college football season. As most teams have played 6 games out of their 12. There's a few that have only played 5, but I guess when you have a destroyed knee and you can't go out for a walk, you can stay home and watch college football all day. It's not a bad plan B. It's interesting. All these games in week 1 that feature top caliber teams against out of conference opponents. I think it was a couple of years ago I made a comment on one of the big Twitter handles and said these are essentially elimination games because you can't even lose one game and try to make these playoffs. And everyone's like, no. I'm like, yes. I just watched the first hour of College Game Day, and guess who they're talking about? The undefeated teams. They're not talking about the teams that have a loss or 2. I get it. Opening week, tough opponent, makes for great TV. But realistically, it can ruin seasons. Very rarely can you open up with a loss in week 1 and then turn around and win out your last 11 games and make the playoffs. I think it did happen once. So if I'm the athletic director of one of these teams, I'm booking a cupcake in week 1. If I'm in the power conference. If you're in a group conference, you need style points. Cincinnati, we saw them last year. They won the AAC, but they also beat a couple of Big Ten teams. And that's the appeal, I guess. So let's take a quick peek here. Who are we talking about? We've got Clemson 6-0. Shh. Quiet little Clemson. I mean, they didn't do too well last year, but they're 6-0. Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State are all undefeated. But guess what? They're all in the Big Ten East Conference. Which means we're going to have ourselves a little round robin because everybody in the conference, division, everyone in the division plays each other. So out of those 3 teams, somebody's going to have at least one loss. They could all have a loss. In fact, one of those games is today. Michigan 6-0, Penn State 5-0. They play. And it's easy to look at these numbers now and say, well, somebody's going to lose these games. But notice how we're not talking about the teams in that conference with a loss. Or 2. Although Minnesota and Illinois, one-loss teams, they're looking pretty good. Nobody talks about the Pac-12. Guess what? Southern California and UCLA are both 6-0. And they're both looking pretty good. They will eventually play each other, so one of them's going to get a loss. But the other one's going to the Pac-12 championship game. And you win that, the 13-0 Pac-12 champ is going to make the playoffs. I think the Pac has missed the playoffs the last couple of years. The Big 12 kind of get the short end of the stick because they don't have divisions. They all play everybody. You've got 9 games against legitimate good teams, and even Kansas is good this year. And it's very, very tough to run the table in that conference. Who's left standing? Not Oklahoma. What the hell happened to them? 3-loss Oklahoma? Texas, already with 2 losses, put a beating on them, 49-0 last week. So it's Oklahoma State and TCU, 5-0 each, and guess what? They're playing each other today. Will the Big 12 champ survive? Not only do you got to play everybody, unlike the other conferences where you could win your division by playing a weak divisional opponent. See the Big Ten. Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan. You come out of that East Conference, or East, I'm not awake yet. Whoever wins the East Division gets to beat up on a West Division team. Last year, Michigan destroyed Iowa. It's like a warm-up game, so I'm losing my train of thought. But not here. TCU, Oklahoma State, whoever wins that comes out of the regular season on top. You got to play the runner-up. So you could be looking at a rematch just to get out of your conference. So I would argue even a one-loss Big 12 champ deserves playoff consideration because of how tough it is to win that conference. Excuse me, a little under the weather today. Oh yes, the SEC, I almost forgot. Oh my. The East is finally putting up some good teams this year. We got East versus West showdown today, Alabama and Tennessee. Of course, they're trying to sell this as Tennessee has a chance. Yeah, the chance is about that big. I hate to say it, Alabama, heavy favorite, blowout. 6-0 Bama, 5-0 Tennessee. Meanwhile, we got 6-0 Ole Miss, 6-0 Georgia, reigning, defending, undisputed national champions. Now, Georgia and Tennessee are in the East, so they're going to have to play each other later this season. Bama and Ole Miss are in the West. They're going to have to play each other. Is the SEC really that damn good? Are they better than everyone else? Do they deserve to put two teams into the 4 playoff spots? I hate to say it, but yes, they've proven it over the years. But notice, even on opening week, most of the SEC teams play cupcakes in the first week. And every now and then, Bama will say, all right, give us a primetime game week 1, but they'll play someone that they know they can beat, even if they are a big name school. So that's again, if you're in the SEC and that's the argument, we don't need to play tough out of conference opponents because we got tough in conference opponents. At least Bama's not playing FCS schools. Actually, I think they are playing one later this year, but they opened up with a Mountain West team, Utah State, which is a little more respectable. FBS versus SCS, it rarely turns into a good game. These are usually 58-0 blowouts, and I really don't see the point in playing these games at this level. It'd be like saying the NHL hockey should allow a couple games a year against the minor leagues, like the AHL. It's just not feasible. It's stupid. Notwithstanding Appalachian State 2007, but that doesn't happen very often. Who else do we got on the leaderboard here? ACC, we talked Clemson, but Syracuse is 5-0. I don't think that's going to last. A lot of good teams in the ACC. They get forgotten sometimes. They have the best YouTube presence. They post condensed games, which basically, we'll call it no huddle games, but they condense a 3-hour football game into a 20 to 30 minute video package. So you can sit down and watch the games without having to watch all the delays in the plays. So I watch more ACC, to be honest, than anything else. North Carolina State, and Wake Forest, all one loss. All really good teams. Of course, Clemson, Syracuse undefeated. Pittsburgh, Duke, Florida State, Miami. It's a stacked conference with teams. They've got programs that are consistently good over the years. Sometimes you have some ups and downs. Clemson, the NFL rated, they're out there. That's what happens, and it's like junior hockey. Once you have a good team, everyone gets drafted and they move up to the pros. Clemson had so many good years in a row, and then everyone graduated. Now they're all in the NFL. It's like, okay, it's tough to keep rebuilding every year, but I think Clemson's back. They're looking pretty good this year. Florida State started 4-0, I think, and now they dropped 2. So Clemson, Florida State tonight. Interesting game. Syracuse, I don't know. They're 5-0, but they haven't really been tested. I don't see that working out. We got 2 undefeateds in the group of 5. Coastal Carolina. Yes, Coastal Carolina. They just moved up from is it BS? FCS, FBS. Coastal 6-0, looking pretty good in that Sun Belt. How about little James Madison moving up? They're 5-0. I think with the transfer rules, they're not bowl eligible or anything like that, but that's not bad. You move up and you're 5-0. That's exciting. But yeah, I don't think anyone's taken these schools too seriously as of yet. If we get to 12-0, maybe we'll talk playoffs like we did Cincinnati. I'd have to look at Coastal's schedule to see if they who else they played. Did you play any SEC schools, or are you playing cupcakes? 1-loss teams worthy of mention. Cincinnati made the playoffs last year. They took a loss week 1, I think it was, to Arkansas, but they're now 5-0 since. Central Florida, 4-1. Actually, they're 5-1. They win last night. Illinois, Minnesota. How about Kansas? 5-0, now 5-1. They haven't been doing too good lately. Oregon, didn't they drop week 1 and now they're 5-0? Mississippi State's 5-1. Liberty's what do you call them? Independent. They're not in any conference. I don't think they have a very tough schedule, so I don't see them going to a playoff spot, but still. Another school that's moved up within the past few years and has had consistent good results. So we got to give them a shout out. 4-1 San Jose State. 4-1 South Alabama. Tulane is 5-1. Should we even talk about the 2-loss teams? Because there's some powerful, big-name schools with 2 losses that could still potentially win their conference. They might not get a playoff berth, but they could at least go to one of the big bowls. Florida State, Duke, Pittsburgh, Maryland, Purdue, Texas, Baylor, Notre Dame, Brigham Young, Boise State, Air Force, Utah, Cal, Oregon State, Washington State, South Carolina, Florida, Kentucky, LSU, Troy. 2-loss teams. Well, there's some MAC teams there, 2-loss MAC teams. Hey, you got to win your games. Toledo, Eastern Michigan. Air Force, Vegas. Did I say them? I don't know. San Antonio. Didn't they play last night? They might. Rice. Alabama, Birmingham. They lost their team for like 5 years. Then they came back, and all they're doing is winning. So, plenty of interesting games. It's hard to keep up with all this. 120 teams, is there? Anyways, enjoy the games, everyone.